duration of the flight. I will give you 3 separate views of this drill movement. The first one will be of the guidon bearer. Guidon, bring me the staff. Thank you. As I perform this first view, I will represent the guidon bearer. I want you to pay attention to my entire body. I want you to pretend as though the commands that you are hearing are coming from an MTI standing right on top of my lesson plans, and they have their back to you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate for you the actions of the remaining individuals inside the flight. As I perform this drill movement, I want you to focus your attention on the upper half of my body. I will represent all remaining trainees in the flight with just 2 exceptions that we will discuss later on. Again, pretend as though the commands are coming from an MTI standing on about where my lesson plans are at with their back to you. I'm going to show you this drill movement one final time. This time I will still represent all the remaining individuals in the flight with just 2 exceptions that I will tell you about later on. This time, however, scan my entire body but pay particular attention to the lower half of my body, especially my feet. Again, I want you to remember that all commands are being given from an MTI standing on about where my lesson plans are at with their back to you. As with any drill movement, there's a certain set of requirements that we must meet before we are able to perform this drill movement. The requirements for this drill movement are first and foremost that we must have enough trainees or individuals to form a flight. We must have at least 2, but no more than 4 elements. Second, we must have enough room to form a flight. Last but not least, this drill movement must be performed at the cadence of quick time. As you may recall, the cadence of quick time is 100 to 120 beats or steps per minute. It refers to how fast we might march, how many times our feet might strike the ground inside one 60-second period or 1 minute. The commands that you will receive to form the flight is fall in. Fall in is a combined command because the preparatory command and command of execution are combined into one word. We will begin breaking down the drill movement with the guidon bearer. Guidon bearer, come back up here. As I stated earlier, I'm going to demonstrate first for you the actions of the guidon bearer. The guidon bearer, as well as the remaining individuals in the formation, will be standing off to the side of the drill pad. Upon hearing the combined command to fall in, the guidon bearer will first assume the position of attention, go to carry guidon, and then march to a position so that the first element is centered on the instructor, approximately 3 paces away from the instructor. Once the guidon bearer halts in his or her position, they will not move because they are the bases of the formation. Once halted in place, they will perform an automatic dress right dress. Once the guidon bearer feels the shoulder of the first element leader, he or she then will execute an automatic ready front and at the same time go to order guidon. Guidon bearer, come up here and stand right here for me. Stand right here, turn around and face the flight. Here you go. Once the guidon bearer has taken position, the remaining members of the formation can fall in, beginning in this case with the element leaders. Go ahead and go to carry guidon, execute a dress right dress. As you may recall, the formation was standing to the side of the drill pad. The remaining members of the flight, beginning with the element leaders, heard the same combined command of fall in. When they heard that command, they began marching at a position of attention in the same direction as the guidon bearer. The first element leader will take position to the immediate left of the guidon bearer. Once halted in place, the first element leader will execute an automatic dress right dress. Put your arm down, go to order guidon. The first element leader will hold their position of dress right dress until they feel the shoulders of the individual to their left and they have established exact shoulder to fingertip contact with the guidon bearer as well as dress to the guidon bearer. So, first element leader, come on up. Go ahead and turn around, face the flight right there. Move to the left a little bit, right there. The first element leader falls into position to the immediate left of the guidon bearer. Then each element leader after the second, the third, and fourth elements will also march at the position of attention and take their proper position one behind the other. So, second, third, and fourth element leaders, come on back up. Come on this way. Come this way. Second element leader, take your position. Third element leader, take your position. Fourth element leader, take your position. Once halted in place, each element leader will execute an automatic dress right dress. Go ahead and raise your left arms. You don't turn your head back straight. Once each element leader has established their dress cover interval and distance, and then they feel the shoulder of the individual falling into their left, they will each execute an automatic ready front. Go ahead and lower your arms, first element leader. Second element leader, lower your arms. Third, and then fourth. All the remaining trainees in the flight will again be marching at the position of attention toward the formation. They will begin filling in the formation from the fourth element, then the third, then the second, and then the first. This process will continue until the entire formation is filled in, all the way down to the last individual in the fourth element, who will typically be the dorm chief. If there is one extra person, usually that dorm chief. That person will fall in the fourth element. If there are two extra trainees, then I would have one in the fourth and one in the third. If three extra trainees, one in the fourth, one in the third, one in the second. And of course, if there were four, then the formation would be completely squared off in the back. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and fall back in with the flight. Once halted in formation, each individual must perform an automatic dress right dress. To perform a dress right dress, raise and extend your left arm laterally from the shoulder. As your hand passes waist level, extend your fingers, join them, and place the thumb along the forefinger. Keeping your palm facing down, you will continue to raise your left arm until it is parallel with the ground. Simultaneously or at the same time, turn your head and eyes 45 degrees to the right with snap. There are, however, two exceptions when performing this drill movement. The guidon bearer, second, third, and fourth element leaders. Since there's no one to your immediate right-hand side, you will not turn your head and eyes 45 degrees to the right. Therefore, your dress right dress will look like this. Our second exception is that trainee or those individuals at the extreme left flank of the formation. Since there's no one to their immediate left, there's no need for them to raise their arm. Therefore, their dress right dress will look like this. The reason why we are raising our arms or turning our heads to the right is so that we may establish our responsibilities as far as dress, cover, interval, and distance are concerned. The first group of individuals we'll talk about as far as responsibilities are the base file. The base file includes the second, third, and fourth element leaders. Upon completing their automatic dress right dress, they'll take short choppy steps, either forwards, backwards, to the right, or to the left, to establish their cover behind the individual in front of them and a visual 40-inch distance. The second group in our formation are the leading individuals. The leading individuals in the line formation have the responsibility of establishing exact shoulder to fingertip contact. Trainee Dylan, come on up here for a second. Just stand right here behind my lesson plans and face the flight. Raise and extend your left arm parallel to the ground. Put it behind me. There you go. In order to establish exact shoulder to fingertip contact, you need to take short choppy steps so that the individual to your right fingertips are barely touching your shoulder. The leading individuals will also establish their dress to the right. Go ahead and lower your arm. Thank you very much. Go ahead and fall back in. All the remaining individuals in the formation that have not been identified, with the exception of the guidon bearer, will take short choppy steps to dress to the right and to cover behind the individual in front of them. The guidon bearer's responsibility is simply to remain in position and not move. In the process of establishing your dress to the right and your cover behind the individual in front of you, as a remaining member, it's important that you use your peripheral vision, or looking out the corner of your eye, to cover behind the individual in front of you. For all of our remaining individuals, while you're attempting to establish your dress, cover, interval, and distance, you may come into a problem. Trainee Dylan, come on back up here for a second. Again, stand right here behind my lesson plans and face the flight. As a remaining member, as you perform your dress right dress, your arm might be too short to reach the individual to your left. Extend your arm parallel to the ground. As you can see here, Trainee Dillon's hand will not reach me. His arm is too short. So we have the long arm, short arm rule. In this case, short arm. If your arm is too short, you will simply leave it up parallel to the ground in open space. Put your arm down. However, if your arm is too long, you will raise and extend it parallel to the ground behind the person to your immediate left. Put your arm up parallel to the ground behind me. As you can see, Trainee Dillon's arm is longer than this space between us. Therefore, he will put his arm up parallel to the ground behind me, because he must cover behind the individual in front of him, and I must cover behind the individual in front of me. Go ahead and lower your arm. Thank you very much. You can fall back in. Once each trainee individually establishes their DCID, they will perform an automatic ready front. To perform a ready front, you will lower your left arm, retracing the same path you took to raise it. As the hand passes waist level, recup your hand and place your thumb on the first joint of the forefinger. Simultaneously, or at the same time, turn your head and eyes back to the front with snap. You will lower your arm with snap as well without slapping your thigh. Guidon bearer, come on up here for a second. Thank you. As the guidon bearer, once you execute your automatic ready front, you will also go to the order guidon position. Come on back up here for a second. There you go. Once you've executed your automatic ready front, your body is then back at the position of attention. The MTI will then size the flight and command count off. What I'm going to do right now is review my lesson plans to ensure I've covered all the material that you need to be successful. While I'm doing so, go ahead and formulate any questions that you might have about this drill movement.